Today is officially the last day you could take advantage of both of the PlayStation Store sales going on right now. That includes the under $20 game sale, as well as the totally digital sale. So if you've been eyeing up any of those games, I would highly recommend you to make your purchase as soon as possible. And with that being said, in this video, I want to go over the top 10 deals that I didn't go over in any other videos. I typically try to stay within a certain budget. Namely, a few days ago, we uploaded a video taking a look at games under the price of $5. However, in this video, I'm completely removing that restriction. Any game is fair game, and I do want to go over some of the more marquee deals. So with that out of the way, let's get right into it, and I want to kick things off with Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag Gold Edition. Assassin's Creed 4 was a game that was released alongside the PlayStation 4 at launch, and it was a game that I absolutely loved. I actually harken back to AC4, and I often say that this is my favorite Assassin's Creed game ever, and that's for a variety of different reasons. I know a lot of people are partial towards Ezio, and that's by all means great. He's a fantastic main character. However, in the case of Edward, I find him just as engaging, if not more engaging, as a main protagonist of Assassin's Creed. He's hilarious, and I thought he was a great character to follow, but then you also open up the open world, you open up the naval combat, and there's just so much to like about AC4, and with the Gold Edition being down to $14.99, I think it's a great buy right now with all of the additional content that you get. AC4 is a game that if you didn't check out, at this point, it's a little bit older. I mean, what, we're approaching 7 years on this game. I highly recommend you to go back and play it because it is well worth it. Next up, we have Dishonored II, which is 65% off for $13.99. Dishonored is another franchise that I often go to bat for. I thought Dishonored 1 was fantastic, and that game, of course, is playable on the PlayStation 4, but Dishonored 2 takes everything from Dishonored 1 and makes it even better, adds more variety to the gameplay, makes an even more compelling narrative, and you got two distinct playable characters. They do have generally the similar storyline. However, there are enough differences where it's worthwhile to play through both campaigns at least a single time, and there's quite a bit of content here as well. If you want a quality stealth action adventure title, and you don't even have to play it stealthy, if you want to go the guns blazing route, you can absolutely do that, but for $14, it's a great buy, and there's a free demo available, so if you want to go that route, instead try out the demo and then decide whether or not you want to buy the game, that's a fine option as well, but for $14, I think Dishonored 2 is a great buy. Alright, moving on from that, we've got Middle-earth Shadow of War Definitive Edition. Middle-earth Shadow of War is a fantastic game, obviously the follow-up to Shadow of Mordor, which I often go back to and think about it as one of the best games of the early portion of the PlayStation 4. And I would really call it one of the defining PS4 game experiences. But Shadow of War is obviously an epic open world brought to life by the award-winning Nemesis system once again, and the Definitive Edition includes all of the downloadable content. That includes Desolation of Mordor, the Blade expansion, Slaughter of Tribe Nemesis expansion, and the Outlaw Tribe Nemesis expansion, so that's going to add quite a bit of content to an already content-filled experience. And I think the shining element of these games have to be the combat. The combat in Middle-earth Shadow of War is fantastic, just like it was in Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, but it's just a very satisfying action-oriented combat system, and 75% off for $14.99. It's a great buy right now, and I'd highly recommend it. Alright, next up, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. It's only 25% off, but considering it is a PlayStation Hits title, that takes the already great $19.99 price point and drops it down to $14.99. Resident Evil 7 is an awesome game, and it's a little bit unfortunate because now when you talk about Resident Evil, obviously all of the attention is towards the Resident Evil 2 remake. We're approaching the Resident Evil 3 remake. Not a lot of people give Resident Evil 7 the credit it deserves, but it is a fantastic horror game. Really brought Resident Evil back to its horror roots, and it invokes that element of horror that, you know, it actually makes you a little bit tense while playing the game. There is a free demo available for this one as well. $14.99 for it, however, is such a great price. And by the way, if you do have the PlayStation VR headset, even better, because Resident Evil 7, while it wasn't designed exclusively for VR, it is one of the best VR games that you can come across. It is done so well in PSVR. You can play the entirety of the game in that mode, and it is just an incredibly worthwhile experience. Whether you play it through VR, whether you play it with traditional controls, either way, $14.99 for it is a fantastic buy, and I strongly recommend that. Next up, we have Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-Year Celebration Edition. It is 85% off for $8.99. Rise of the Tomb Raider, in my opinion, is the best game since the 2013 Tomb Raider reboot in that trilogy. I thought Rise of the Tomb Raider was a fantastic game. It beats out Shadow of the Tomb Raider because the narrative isn't completely terrible, and in Rise of the Tomb Raider, you still have that awesome quality gameplay, and for just $8.99, this is an excellent buy with a reasonable amount of content, and with the PlayStation 4 version, with the 20-year celebration version, I should say, you do have some additional content on top of that. This also has a VR component, not quite to the extent of a Resident Evil 7, but nonetheless, you do have that in there as well, and the main game is just a worthwhile playthrough. 85% off for $8.99 is a great buy. Another one with a free demo, so if you do want to check it out that way, you can do that as well. Next up, WipEout the Omega Collection is 25% off for $14.99. Now, I'll be honest with you guys up front, this game has been considerably cheaper before. It's been down to as low as $5.99, so yeah, if you want to wait a little while before you pick up WipEout Omega Collection, by all means do that. It's absolutely worth the $14.99. It's a great arcade racer. Omega Collection brings together all the content from WipEout HD, WipEout HD Fury, and WipEout 2048, and it's enhanced for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro. Great set of racers here, and unfortunately the PlayStation 4 doesn't have a lot of quality exclusive racers, but WipEout Omega Collection is definitely one that is, and it's unfortunate that WipEout as a franchise has just gone a little under the radar. It's not up there with the arcade racing beast like a Mario Kart or anything like that, but WipEout is a very good futuristic racer, a lot of cool ships that you can drive, and I think overall the game is quite good. This is another game that got PlayStation VR support as an update, and one of the best VR experiences that you can find. I would highly recommend it from that standpoint as well, but again, if you're playing it with traditional controls, a lot of fun, and $14.99 for it is a great buy. Next up, here is low-key one of the best deals across the entire sale, maybe even the best sale. Valkyria Chronicles Remastered and Valkyria Chronicles 4 in a bundle is 55% off for $17.99. If you want a quality strategy RPG, if you want a quality JRPG, these two will definitely fit the bill. And it's interesting because Valkyria Chronicles 4 is being sold standalone for $17.49. You can pay 50 cents more and get Valkyria Chronicles 1 on top of that, and VC1 is an excellent game. VC4, I would say, is the better game because it does offer a little bit more variety in its gameplay. You can play it on easy mode if it does get a little bit too difficult, and these games do get relatively challenging, especially the first one, but a lot of content across these two games, and I always stand by Valkyria Chronicles. I hope Sega brings out more of these. It took a little while for us to get Valkyria Chronicles 4, but man, there's a lot of potential in this franchise. Hopefully we'll see VC3 released sometime in the States as well, because that game was only released in Japan, and it's arguably the best game in the series. I don't know if I would necessarily go that far with VC4 out, but nonetheless, you get the idea. These are excellent games, great stories in these games as well, probably the strongest element or one of the strongest elements of the game. And then you do have a phenomenal art style rounding things out, and it's one of those games with an art style that's going to hold up really well over time, so from that standpoint, it's great. $18 for both of these games, that's a steal. Another 2-pack, we've got Wolfenstein, the 2-pack, Wolfenstein the New Order, and Wolfenstein the Old Blood. That is 50% off for $14.99. Unfortunately, no Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus here, but still, you get the New Order, which is a fantastic single-player first-person shooter. Yes, I know the idea of a single-player FPS maybe a few years ago wouldn't have been that accepted, but I think as people played games like Doom 2016, people played Wolfenstein the New Order, there have been games like Metro Exodus, first-person shooters that are single-players are kinda in right now, and Wolfenstein the New Order is a great one. Old Blood, not quite as good, but still a pretty good experience, a shorter experience as it was released as a budget title, but nonetheless, I would highly recommend these titles, and $14.99 for both of them is a great buy. Lastly, those 8 deals were a part of the under $20 sale. The final 2 are a part of the totally digital sale. I gotta give a shout to Dead Cells and Rise of the Giant. It's Dead Cells, and it comes with a Rise of the Giant avatar, I should say. It's 30% off for $17.49, so it's not the deepest discount in the world, but my god, Dead Cells is a phenomenal game, and yes, it's retained its price point for quite a while, but it's one of those games that has earned a high price point. It absolutely deserves your money. $17.49 for it, I would even say, is a good deal. I would say the initial $25 was a great price point, and that's because Dead Cells is a phenomenal game. Yes, it starts out like a Metroidvania, and maybe you'll think it's a little bit simplistic outside of the art style. The art style is phenomenal, the presentation in general is excellent, but then you play more and more of it, and you realize that this game is awesome, and you get more invested into it. The gameplay is excellent, the replayability is top-notch, and it's a game I constantly find myself going back to, so $17.49 for this is fantastic, and if you want a quality action platformer, Dead Cells is going to be right up your alley. It is a tremendous one. And lastly, another game with a phenomenal art style, Hyper Light Drifter by Heart Machine is 60% off for $7.99. This is a great game that often PlayStation is compared to the Legend of Zelda titles, and in a rare case, I would put Hyper Light Drifter at that quality level. I really think it's a tremendous game. I think the gameplay is great. It is a little bit more on the challenging side, so be open-minded for that. 60% off for $7.99 is great. This is a little bit of an older release. It came out almost 4 years ago, all the way back in July of 2016. Some people checked it out, but not as many people that should have. This is a game that I would recommend to literally everyone, and I think a lot of people would really enjoy it had they known it existed. And now for $7.99, I think it's a great buy. I mean, who isn't captivated by that awesome art style that Hyper Light Drifter has? It's a great one. For $8, I think it's a great buy. So that's going to conclude this video. Again, the totally digital as well as the under $20 sale will end at the end of today. By tomorrow morning, these sales will be gone and we will be back to the typical PlayStation Store prices just for a little bit, because it seems like Sony is rolling out PlayStation Store sales all the time. I mean, we know for a fact during the summer there's going to be a massive sale, and come on, we've got a couple more months until then. We're going to get some tremendous sales until then. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.